Hello there. What is going on, everyone? We've got some very interesting news to talk about today. A new print-and-play expansion for X-Wing the Miniatures game has been made available by Atomic Mass Games. Now, I want to remind you, you did not hear me incorrectly. I did say Atomic Mass Games just released something new for X-Wing, which may strike you as odd if you've been following current events, because X-Wing has been, along with Star Wars Armada, has been canceled by Atomic Mass Games. They have stated that these games were no longer under development and would also not receive any new reprints or anything like that. So basically, these games have been marked as sunsetting, and this is the final year for organized play support, ending with Worlds 2025. And basically, this is the send-off for these games. So it strikes a lot of people as odd as to why now, all of a sudden, that Atomic Mass Games would give out some free stuff that had been canceled, but give us a print-and-play expansion for X-Wing, despite it already have been kind of sunsetted. Somebody in my Discord said it best by saying it feels like your ex broke up with you, but they are still texting you, months later, and you're like, we're starting to move on. The X-Wing Alliance already has a beta points update out there. People are playing X-Wing Alliance. People are playing X-Wing Legacy. Like the community has sort of taken the reins. Why do this now? I have some theories. We're going to talk about that towards the end of the video. But before we jump in and take a look at this expansion, I do want to remind you guys about the $25 Amazon gift card giveaway that's going on right now. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. For this one, I want you to tell me why you think they released this points update now, when the game has already been canceled. Why would you, spend the time to put this together, release it to the community? Do you think it's just an act of goodwill, or could there be something more? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the PDF document. Now, this is available at atomicmassgames.com. If you want to scroll down to the X-Wing section, they have lots of different subsections under the X-Wing section. They have the points. They have rules documents. You want to scroll all the way down to under the rules documents link. At the very, very bottom, there is going to be a print and play link, which will take you to this PDF that we're going to look at right here. Now, this does have, it's kind of set up to mimic all the cards that and components that would come in an expansion, including your generic cards, which are basically banned, shadow banned, because they're the same price as everything else. All of these are the same price. It's just bonkers, kind of bonkers. All right, and then we have some nice full art card backs, I suppose, and also the TIE Phantom is getting this. Now, these guys were getting reprints. There was cancellations. The Gunboat was the last one that they had really said was coming, and then they turned around and said, psych, it's not coming. We would lose money if we printed this, which I feel like is a misrepresentation of what you mean by lose money, because there's no way you make a product that you lose money on. What it probably means is the opportunity cost of, well, we would lose money if we made that instead of Legion, Shatterpoint, or whatever, because Legion's selling really well and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of what they mean by losing money. But we've got our XG1 Assault configuration, OS1 Arsenal loadout cards, Advanced Slam is all in here. It does make me wonder if they'd be doing the K-Wing next if the game hadn't been shut down. It'd be an interesting one to see brought back into the meta, into the standard. K-Wing was such an interesting looking ship. I'm never sure exactly how I felt about it, but it's cool seeing it in the art. And this is really the moneymaker page here. We do have a couple of other things. We have some card backs, and we have some tokens, and all of these shenanigans here. But I want to talk about the new standard loadouts, because this is really the meat and potatoes of this PDF right here. And and these are a big deal. They're a big deal. All right, so let's talk about it. We'll go from we'll do the left side first. Our TIE Phantoms. We've got Whisper, and we've got Echo. And they're pretty nasty looking. Look, Initiative 5 and 4. The big change right here. I mean, you still have the Stygium array. All right, nothing really new there. You're coming with Stygium Reserve relay system and without a trace on Whisper. But the biggest thing for Whisper is Whisper has 2 charge tokens, and this ability says after you perform an attack, you may spend a charge to gain an evade action. That's wild. That's wild, because it goes back to X-Wing 1.0, doesn't it? It reminds me of the original, very oppressive version of Whisper that would just do this over and over and over and over. Yeah, it was oppressive. It's less oppressive now with Road. It's also only 2 times per game because that's a non-recurring charge. So I feel like that's a pretty cool way to approach it. The interesting thing is that it still costs the same. There's also been a points update. There's another document that has all of the points. It's also available, although when I last looked, it was still dated as of February. So, but it does have the points in here, and these are Whisper is still 5 points, so same price as regular Whisper, but you're getting that awesome ability, which is pretty cool. And then we've got Echo. Echo has a new ability also. It says, after an enemy ship at range 0 to 1 performs an action on its action bar, you may spend a charge to perform the same action, treating it as white. This is a really cool thing. It's a recurring charge, too, so you can do this every time. You do want to stay close to enemies. And Initiative 4 is going to be a tricky number. It's not the easiest number to stay at range 1 of enemies, but it gives you an extra action. Obviously, you won't be able to perform the same action that you've already performed, I don't believe, but you gain access to some different actions that you wouldn't normally have had, like boost or like a slam or something like that, which I don't know if I'd want to necessarily slam, but it's pretty cool. But it does have to be an action on their action bar, so you're not going to be able to do some crazy action on an upgrade card or anything like that. But that is a pretty cool option. Echo comes with Silent Hunter, Stealth Gambit, and Manual Ailerons, which is kind of interesting. I don't even think you could take that before, right? I don't know. But that's kind of like the old ability. So they just give them more, and they're the same price. All right. So anyway, Echo is interesting. We've also got our gunboat pilots. Lieutenant Karasabi is at Initiative 3. There's a couple of things about the gunboats. First off, the gunboats each have new actions, I think it's or new linked actions on their action bar. Instead of just focus, target lock, slam, and reload, they now have 2 extra linked actions from the slam. Or they can now slam into a red target lock. They can slam into a red reload. So a little bit extra action efficiency there, which I think is kind of cool. Lieutenant Karasabi has proton torpedoes, saturation rockets, and the electronic baffle. It says when you perform a reload action, the chosen upgrade recovers an additional charge, which is kind of cool. He's going to be shooting a lot of stuff. And then you got Major Vinder there, who has the long-range scanner, ion cannon, and the heavy plasma missiles. And it says after you perform a missile attack, you may perform a bonus cannon attack. While you perform this bonus attack, you may change 1 eyeball into a hit result. Also with having those same extra red-linked actions. Now, there haven't been any points changes on these guys. If the standard loadouts are the same cost as the generic version. And I believe it's 5 points for everybody. Everybody here you see on this page, I believe, is 5 points for the standard loadouts, same as their regular versions. So that's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. And so say what you will about the balance of these cards. I'll be honest, I haven't play tested them yet. I've got to wonder why they released them now, though. Now, I think some people might just say this might just be an act of goodwill. I think there's more to it than that. I think there was pressure on them to do this, and I think it has a little something to do with some of the negative feedback that's out there. I've seen a lot of former FFG people kind of publicly criticize Atomic Mass Games' dismissal of X-Wing and Armada, particularly with X-Wing. To summarize really quick, X-Wing was one of the most popular miniatures games in the world. It's the game that really put FFG on the map on a level never before seen. It brought so much awareness to tabletop and miniatures games, and brought FFG to this level that again got them on Asmodee's radar. Got them targeted by Asmodee. That, whole merger happened, and just growth and growth and growth and growth. And frankly, that all led to Atomic Mass Games even being founded as a studio. I would venture to say that I don't think it's too strong a statement to say that Atomic Mass Games would probably not exist if not for X-Wing and all of its success. And so to kind of take this entire and massively successful game line and then to cancel it with a tweet, which is effectively what they did, it brought them a lot of negative press, I think. I mean, I've definitely seen a lot of noteworthy people criticizing Atomic Mass Games pretty heavily. You know, I go back to when Fantasy Flight Games certainly is not immune from having games canceled, but when a game would be canceled, they would try to do it with a little bit more ceremony and in regard for the longevity of the game. There'd be multiple articles. There'd be, you know, a fanfare of, you know, here's a final wave. There's still more coming. This is gonna be the last wave, though. And then we'll do another, you know, another Worlds with this next wave. And usually you're given like a whole year in advance of a game kind of ending support. They did something like that with Star Wars Destiny too. This is going to be the final wave, and also here's a print and play. So there's kind of like 2 more waves of expansions after Destiny was announced that it was having its end of life. You know, Fantasy Flight is not a stranger to doing that, but there's a certain amount of respect that you give a game when you shut it down, especially one that's as massive as X-Wing has been. And they didn't do that here. They actually had stuff planned, and they just said, "Oh no, you know what? It's done. It's done." You know, like that Jonah Hill meme kind of. It was just, you know, flip the switch. It's over. And I think there was pressure. You know, there's definitely been pressure to when they canceled Worlds, and then came back. You know, a couple weeks later, it was like, oh, the psych. No, we're just kidding. Worlds was in the works the whole time. You know, that was due to pressure from Asmodee that said, no, you're not canceling Worlds. You better put it back on. And then they had to, you know, turn it back on. I feel like this is also due to some pressure from Asmodee. I don't think they want Asmodee being known as a studio that shuts down massively successful games that require an investment, because again, it makes people think, well, should I continue to invest in Star Wars Unlimited? Should I continue to invest in Marvel Crisis Protocol? You know, are they just going to, like, you know, shut down a game while I'm already expecting more waves to come out? You know, and I think that's why I think they're trying to give it a more of a graceful goodbye, and I think it's largely due to corporate pressure, because I think Asmodee saw the way that they handled it. I think a lot of other people, everybody else in the world, saw the way that they handled it and the amount of criticism that they've got. I think it put a lot of pressure on them to say, hey, release this, because otherwise, why release this? The game's already canceled, right? The game's already canceled. And these ships aren't in production. There's no gunboats in any warehouses out there. You can't find a gunboat except on like eBay. You know, you're not going to do it. People are 3D printing these. So why justify people's 3D printings? Why put out something for free that could make you a ton of money? If these were sold, if this came out and a gunboat reprint came out, I guarantee you they'd have sold out instantly. They'd have probably sold out on pre-orders alone. So again, why give it away when you can make money off of it? I think there was a lot of corporate pressure to do this. But that's just my opinion. It's based on some guesswork. It's based on things that I've seen, and it's based on previous trends. Of course, it doesn't matter what I think, because it's not like Atomic Mass Games is going to be like, you're right, we really screwed up with how we shut down X-Wing, and this is more of an apology to the community. You know, but I think that's definitely what it is. And I don't know if there will be any more. It'll be really interesting, especially if there's stuff that overwrites what the communities are doing right now. X-Wing Alliance is, you know, they put out some beta points. I think there's some huge ship stuff in there. I haven't gotten too deep into it yet, but you know, what happens if the community takes the reins, like is expected, and then AMG comes back and it's like, oh, we've got other stuff that trumps all this, you know, that overwrites what the community's already done. You know, then it becomes very difficult with your, like, okay, which one do we want to keep playing with? You know, maybe these points aren't right for these standard loadouts. Maybe they need to be changed. I don't know. Not my decision to make. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. You can also join our Discord and keep the discussion going there. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are out of this world and help make this whole channel possible. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and may the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. Have a great day, and always wash your socks.